right, Greg, it's on you.
Good morning. Welcome to the community briefing. My name is Gregory Sneed, and it is the 23rd of April, and in the year 2026, I think we are officially entering into year 7, if you can believe it or not, of the community briefing, hitting our 6-year anniversary. And I think I joined after about a month or two. So we have been bringing you lots of guests, lots of great topics, and we continue to do so because we know that this is important information for you guys, and it's about bringing our community together. So welcome. My name is Gregory Sneed, president of Lifesaver Financial Services, and it's my pleasure now to welcome the queen of our community briefing. Is this our last program in April? I think so, right? Or do we meet again next week?
No, we're not meeting next week. We're actually going to
Oh, that's right.
the grand opening of Pacific Coast Regional Center on their Slauson new location. So that's where we're going next week.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot. Yeah, that's right. So, so we won't be with you guys next week. We will be at grand opening. So, yeah. So Crystal, over to you.
All righty. Hello, everyone. Glad you could join us today. And today we got one of our friends, Edwin Lombard, and he's coming to tell you guys about some initiatives that's going on, and then ask for your help. So we're going to help as much, however we can help. That's what we're going to do, because that's what we're supposed to be doing. So I am Crystal Mitchell. I'm the co-director of Recycling Black Dollars, as well as a business coach and consultant and podcast host with several other podcasts, as well as the inspiration behind the community briefing. So you guys know what this platform is for us to come together, join together, share, bring and introduce you to our leaders and stakeholders, and then lend hand where we can lend hand. What is that image, that picture, that artwork where the strong black hand is down and you're lifting up the person below us? That's what we're going to be doing here. And so we want to thank you guys for joining us. We are sponsored by, powered and sponsored by Recycling Black Dollars and the BBA. And we are monetarily sponsored by Los Angeles LDC, Southern California Edison, Wells Fargo Banks, PCR, Business Finance, as well as SoCal Gas, Urban Excellence. I think that is everybody. And we want to thank you. If you guys are interested, then you can go over to our website and hit that little donate button and help us continue to do what we do. We have a fantastic team. So you've already met Greg. Ms. Robin Billups is on her way in. She had an event this morning, so she'll be checking in very shortly. And myself, and then Mr. Stephen Turner. He is what makes all of this come together in outreach and as the producer. So we want to thank him for that as well. So our great guest today. So one thing, I'm gonna be Robin right at the moment. So we are April 23rd. We have another weekend this month, and in the month of May, we should all be focused on who we gonna vote for, and make sure we don't bring no lunatics into this part of the country. We're gonna leave the lunatics on the East Coast, and we're gonna make sure we get the right people. And then once we get them in there, we're gonna make sure we are holding them accountable. That's what we're doing from here on out. And so with that, I'm gonna turn it over to Greg. I'm gonna say hello to Joe Razan. I missed you yesterday, dude. You got out of there before I could say hello. Before I jumped off though, Greg, yesterday the Urban League had a press conference, and they are announcing that they're going to have the National Urban League conference here in Los Angeles in late June, in 2027. And so it's going to be a phenomenal, I think, 90-something affiliates are coming in from all across the country. And so we're excited about that. And of course the community is we need everybody to be all hands on deck during that time to make sure it's a very successful event. And so it was great. So all the leaders out there, when you were up there, we didn't have you, but we felt you. So with that, Greg, I'm turning it over to you.
Right on, right on, on. So our guest today is Edwin Lombard III, and he has done a lot of things. We were just talking about that, and he's thinking about going to write a book. And he really needs no introduction, but we're gonna give him one anyway. Okay. So Edwin Lombard III. I can imagine you when growing up they didn't call you Trey, right?
No. In fact, I was known by a nickname that everyone called me Buddy.
Buddy. Okay. All right, buddy. So Edwin Lombard III, also known as Buddy, is the president and CEO of ELM Strategies. So the M must be the middle name. And we didn't get a chance to find out where you were born and raised. I know you spent a lot of time here in LA. Were you born here in LA?
I was born in New Orleans, Louisiana, but I grew up in Los Angeles. I came to Los Angeles when I was 8 years old.
8 years old. Okay, so you got some Louisiana roots, or sometimes they say roots.
Yeah.
So you said in New Orleans too, right?
Yeah, I'm a Creole black man.
Okay.
You can hear it. You can hear it in his voice.
Yeah. So he is the strategic director of Edward Lombard Management, ELM. It's a public relations, communications, and community outreach firm with clients throughout California. We just said that he was born in New Orleans, but raised here in Los Angeles. He now lives up north in the high cotton section of California. And he has been on a number of boards, so it means he's never bored. Got always plenty of things to do. And he's just done a lot of stuff. And you know what? Let's just bring him to the virtual stage and let him tell his story, because I could go on and on and on, and we'd be here, and it'd be 11:30, and I'd still be introducing him. So please join me in welcoming Edwin Lombard III.
Well, Fred, thank you so much for the introduction. I won't bore everyone with all the story details of things that I've done. I've lived an incredible life, and I've been a blessed man all my life. But born in New Orleans, Louisiana, grew up in Los Angeles. I mean, I attended Bourbon Day High School, went to CSU Dominguez Hills, and also Northridge. I've got lots of friends all over the Southern California area. And once a year, we meet. Some of my high school graduate buddies all meet in Las Vegas during the NBA summer camp. And we have a good time just, coalescing with each other and remembering some of the good old days. But in 1989, God saw fit to bring me to Sacramento as a golf course manager. Oh. And at the time, I was the first African-American to be the general manager of a golf course in the state of California. Did not know that at the time. And I worked at a golf course for about 2.5 years. The company that we worked for, they lost the contract that they had because the owners of the golf course did not want a black man managing their golf course. And so I was floundering around trying to figure out what to do with myself. And I had done golf tournaments for a number of the legislators here in Sacramento. And Cruz Bustamante, who was the lieutenant governor at the time, asked me to do some fundraising golf tournaments for him. And then I got a call from two gentlemen who worked for Jerome Horton, who was the chair of the Legislative Black Caucus, and asked me to become a fundraiser for the Legislative Black Caucus. And I was the first Black fundraiser here in the state of California, and most of the members were my clients. And then that became a consulting situation where I had some folks reach out to me, and they said they needed presence in the Black community to help support some of their legislative issues. And I shifted to becoming a consultant in that area. And I turned the fundraising business over to my wife, Glenda. because she was way better at it than me. And so that's how ELM kind of got formed. And from that point, I've been fighting legislative and regulatory issues throughout the state to make sure that Black small businesses are representative and have a voice. That led to also including the Black community and nonprofits and then ethnic groups, because when the Black community and the Latino community get together, we are truly a force, especially here in Sacramento. Um, so today, what I would like to talk about is a couple of legislative issues, but one in particular. There is a bill that was signed into law in 1967. I know most of us on this call, we were born before 1967, but I have a lot of friends that were not born before then. But this bill was introduced to eliminate wiretapping of your home phones. And remember, back then, all phones were wired phones. They didn't have cell phones. There was no internet. There was no social media, no websites. And the bill was the California Invasion of Privacy Act. Okay, now that sounds like a perfect vehicle for what we're dealing with today, with internet services and so forth. So there are some trial lawyers that have taken that piece of legislation and now have filed frivolous lawsuits against businesses, nonprofits, healthcare facilities, and organizations throughout the state, big and small. And they've collected millions and millions of dollars from these organizations, because the way it works is if you have a website, people visit your website, if you capture their information, they're saying with their lawsuit that you then have the ability to sell that information to third parties so that those third parties can then access these people's information and get them to either buy products from them or whatever it is they want to do. And so for each demand letter that you receive, for everyone who reaches your website that you glean their information, they're charging you $5,000. Now, if you've got an active website and you're selling online through your website, you're capturing quite a few people's information. And you multiply that number times 5,000, that could become millions of dollars very quickly. Unfortunately, these attorneys have found some judges that are friendly towards what they're trying to get done. They send you a demand letter. And if you don't answer the demand letter or respond in the way that they want and settle, they then file a lawsuit against you. And these judges give them the right to then collect millions of dollars from you. For small businesses, we can't afford to fight these lawsuits because we don't have legal teams on our staff, and we can't afford to pay a lawyer to fight this lawsuit for us. So a lot of small businesses wind up settling. And because of the cost of these lawsuits, they wind up going out of business, or it seriously diminishes their ability to supply their customers what they're actually in business for. So just imagine, this happening to Community Briefing, because you guys glean information from everyone that participates on your show. If they filed a lawsuit against you, how many times would you multiply times 5,000 and have to settle a lawsuit? So my aim is to, and you also live on Facebook. So they also, if you've got a presence on social media, the same thing. So people ask me all the time, so Edwin, how do we prevent this from happening? Well, there's a bill that's circling in Sacramento. It's SB 690. What SB 690 does is it redefines what the California Privacy Invasion Act is all about and make it where it's more modern based on what we're doing nowadays, using the internet, using social media, using websites, and so on to actually conduct our businesses. So it eliminates the problem that we're having with these frivolous lawsuits, and it allows the new regulatory bodies like the California Privacy Protection Agency, who is regulating these things anyway, to be the main player to determine if you're running afoul or not. And so today I want to ask as many of your people on this call and who are associated with your organization, if they understand what it is I just introduced, and they're willing to join a coalition that is supporting SB 690, they can go to reformcipa.com, join the coalition, and actively engage in seeing that these frivolous lawsuits go away and we're no longer being bothered, with these demand letters.
Now, a quick check says that the bill was on hold pending potential release in this calendar year.
And what happened was last year the bill it went all the way through to, I think, from the Senate to the Assembly, and it got put on hold because they did not have enough bandwidth in order to get the bill passed or killed. Well, remember last year we were dealing with a huge budget deficit, and all the attention in Sacramento was based on how we deal with this budget. So a lot of bills that were 2-year bills, they got put in the wayside for last year and they were brought back again this year. And so this being a 2-year bill, my firm and a number of organizations, in fact, the coalition is at least 160 organizations strong. And let me just give you a list of some of the organizations that have joined the coalition to date. So we've got the Black Business Association. You were just talking about BBA, Crystal. The Greater Los Angeles African American Chamber, California Senior Alliance, California African American Chamber of Commerce, Community Build Inc., Golden Years Policy Council, Jesse Miranda Center of Hispanic Leadership, National Diversity Coalition, National Action Network, Oakland African American Chamber, the Regional Black Chamber of San Fernando Valley, San Francisco African American Chamber, 200 for home ownership, Time and Density Economic Development Coalition, United Latinos Action, and a nonprofit here in Sacramento called Youth Explosion that feeds the underserved communities and provides them with supplies that they need, and so on and so forth. And this is just a very small portion of the list of folks that have joined the coalition. It's very important that we get as many voices as we can to support this. So as the bill is being heard through the different committees, your members will reflect back and realize that we're trying to keep this from becoming a major issue for our small businesses. I try to capsulize this as we finally have a vehicle that allows us to compete with the big boys, right? If you're doing business online and you're using your website or your social media feeds in order to sell products, you can compete in the marketplace. This is just another piece that's going to be taken away from us so that we can no longer compete. And as we were talking earlier, Crystal, I think it's time that we in the Black community moved away from asking someone to support us or help us, and we began to support and help ourselves. I mean, we're the consumers of the world. Just imagine if those consumer dollars were going to Black organizations as opposed to others. We wouldn't need help from anybody. We can maintain for ourselves. So that's why this is such an important issue to me. And
now, what's the is it SB? What did you say?
SB 690.
690. Okay.
Yes. Now, to join the coalition, like I say, you can go to the website. It's reformcipa.com. There's a button that you click on that says join the coalition. They ask your name, your email address, and that if you're either an entity or an individual, and that's pretty much it. And if you'd like for your logo to be listed on the website, you can send me a copy of that logo, and I'll see that it is put on the website so that you can have a presence on that website. You can send that logo to Edwin, EDWIN, at Lombard, LOMBARD, MGMT.com. And I'll do that again. It's Edwin at lombardmgmt.com. And you'll have a presence on that website, and people will see that you are um, supporting this bill so that we can keep these frivolous lawsuits from affecting how we do things online and with our website. Has anyone got any questions or concerns?
Greg?
I didn't see any in the chat. I don't have any questions about it. He explained it actually very, very well. So it was very clear.
So has this been operating in the background, or since we're asking, we wanted it, it's been there, right?
Let me tell you what's happening.
Okay, so because I need what is pushing it now to the forefront? Has something happened
Okay,
that
so to date, across the United States, there's been between 10 and 20,000 demand letters sent out from these attorneys to small businesses, large businesses, organizations. In California, there's about 2,000 lawsuits that have been filed. 80% of those lawsuits all come from one attorney. This is what's been happening. That attorney hired his wife to go onto people's websites and find out if they're collecting people's data or not. She reports back to him the fact that, this organization is actually collecting people's data. He then provides a demand letter and sends to them demanding that they pay X amount of dollars to settle this lawsuit. Otherwise, he's gonna file a lawsuit against them. And he's filed lawsuits. 80% of the 2,000 lawsuits that have been filed in California comes from this one firm. Think of it like the billboard attorneys that, they come after you, and it's not that you're doing anything wrong. It's not that you're operating improperly. They found a loophole in the law that they can file a lawsuit against you and collect copious amounts of money with these frivolous lawsuits. Now, there's some judges that have come out and said this doesn't make any sense. This doesn't even fit, what's currently going on as far as activity online is. So they've kind of stopped some of these lawsuits. But like I say, they found some friendly judges that have processed these laws and it helped these people to make millions and millions of dollars. One major organization that got hit recently was Kaiser, and Kaiser had to settle with $15 million to keep from filing a lawsuit. Okay, now, and what they're saying is that, as you notice, healthcare facilities now, they do a lot of stuff online. You can even take appointments with your doctor online, right? They gather all your medical information and they share it amongst themselves so that no matter which doctor you're seeing within their platform, they all can see just exactly where you are, what medications you're taking, if you've had any operations, and so on and so forth. And they're saying that they're using that information to sell to pharmaceutical companies to, get you to buy certain drugs and so on and so forth. Whether or not that's true or not, they don't care. They just see that they're gleaning that information, and they have the ability to do so, and so they're filing lawsuits against them. The other thing, if you notice, when you go onto people's website now, you have to click on so many different things to either say you approve them doing this, you don't want them to do that, and if you don't, you don't get access to those websites. Well, this is what's causing this. It's these frivolous lawsuits. So it's making the internet much more difficult to obtain and access and use to your benefit. And for Black small businesses, like I say, we're finally able to, we transitioned from brick and mortar to online, and we did it very quickly, and we're very successful at it. And, it's a way for us to reach our community, not only here in California, but across the nation and around the world. And we can compete now. Well, here's the way they're going to take this away from us once again, taking a vehicle that we've learned how to successfully use so that we can't be using it anymore. And so I'm asking as many of you as possible, go onto that website, join the coalition, let our voices be heard.
But
right.
that's the nature of being online, right? Because you're asking them to subscribe to your website. You're asking them to subscribe to your YouTube channel. You're asking if you have a newsletter. You're asking for a subscription. I mean, it says. I mean, you have to acknowledge that you're collecting at least their emails and so forth, so, and that they'll be added to a mailing list. I mean, that's been going on since the beginning of the internet. So all of us, so they found that loophole within that, and specifically with so many of the uh, journalists, the independent journalists, having to come off of main networks so that they can actually tell us the truth,
Yep.
because the main networks are not doing that any longer. They're only reporting on certain things, but not on what's really happening in the world today. So that alone is shutting down another avenue for us to learn what is happening in the world around us. If everybody just stopped collecting information and you stop subscribing to certain channels, you'd never ever get any information. You'd be in the dark.
Absolutely. And the sad thing about it is they're using a bill that was passed in 1967, right? The, the the technology we use nowadays wasn't even thought of back then, right? I mean, everybody has a cell phone now, so you got a computer in your pocket and you're using this thing for everything you do. And then if you don't have a social media presence, you at least visit other people's social media and you gather information for them. Well, what if that information was not made available to you anymore because of these frivolous lawsuits? And if you want to find out anything about anyone, if they have a website, you go to their website and you can gain as much information about them as you need to determine if this is someone you want to engage with or not. Well, just imagine if you didn't have that anymore, right? And with the advent of AI, which is basically searching the internet to gather information, um, AI would be useless.
Everything would be so it's counterproductive. And isn't that weren't they when Martin Luther King was marching and Andrew Young, they in fact I think I heard recently that Andrew Run said they just less than 10 years ago they finally took the wiretap off, but he was being surveyed by the CIA
Yeah,
for all the way up until 10 years ago. So
absolutely.
so they were already in violation
Yeah,
since
Well,
that
no,
1969.
there's no legislation that's going to stop the CIA. The CIA finds you as a target. You out of luck. You've seen enough movies to see that. What's troubling is that you said that 80% come from one singular law firm, and that's is where it's troubling where the legal industry often doesn't have the any way to counteract the ethics of this firm that's moneying up. I mean, it's very similar to the ADA. There's a law firm here in LA County. They're up in the Valley, and they file anywhere from 1,200 to 1,500 lawsuits monthly
yeah,
on businesses, brick and mortar businesses, not providing adequate ADA entrance.
yeah.
So I was I helped a merchant who, there was an individual who came, right, and he was out of the ordinary for that demographic. Okay, it was I won't say the name of and so what he did is he didn't come around the front, he came around the back.
Mhm.
And then took pictures and claimed, even though that's an employee entrance, that's not an entrance for the public. Came in the back and felt that it wasn't ADA compliant and filed the lawsuit.
Mhm.
And had the owner's insurance policy not cover it, it would have put her out of business.
Yeah,
Now it did prompt her to say, you know what, maybe this is the time to wrap up anyway. And but she was able. But so this one firm, 1,200 to 1,500 monthly, and so this issue is not a pervasive problem. It's just that this law firm, and they could be copycats, where they're just doing the same thing. They're exploiting a loophole, something from 1967, and then putting the screws to, companies and organizations that are just trying to make a living. And
Greg,
and
I'm glad you brought that up, Greg, because they use that ADA model in order to do this. Okay. It's the same thing. They found a law that created a loophole, and that was just an open door for them. And they would go and research as many businesses as they can. And if they find that you're gleaning people's information that you can then use in other different types of ways, they just send a demand letter, right? I just had a meeting with the Stanislaw Latino Chamber of Commerce president CEO, and he said two of their members just recently got those demand letters. And these guys are fearful because they don't know how they're going to go forward, with this. The good thing is they've decided that they're willing to do testimonials about what happened to them, so that it will help other ethnic organizations throughout the state understand what's at play here and not get caught up in this madness that's going on. So you're absolutely right, Greg. They took that ADA model and they ran with it.
and all this law firm has to do is find a handful of California assemblies to support their campaign, and now it's maybe no wonder why it's stalled. Yeah, that's just bad. Okay, you got some good news for us.
For one reason, isn't that how the administration gets information on the regular person down here on Main Street?
Yep. Yep.
So he definitely would be against it, but
Right, right.
because that's how he gets his information is through tapping and so forth. Um,
So I think we
yeah,
all agree that we could join the
yeah,
coalition and put a stop to some of these loopholes and craziness where you've got especially one particular firm that's just moneying up on it. It's just
Yeah.
yeah. I just. But what else can we do though? Is there letter writing needed
Yeah,
or
there's
something
there's
of that nature?
we're just well, there's an op-ed piece that Skip Cooper did in the Sentinel last month, I believe it was, bringing notice to this bill and what they're doing. There was another op-ed run in the Fresno Bee up here in Northern California. There are opportunities to do testimonials, and we're asking people to just take your phone, do a recording on your phone saying, why you feel it's necessary for this bill to pass, to help keep our businesses safe from these frivolous lawsuits. There's going to be some press releases done, and if we can lend your name to names of your organizations to some of these press releases, those things are all going to be done. And I'll keep you up to speed on to how things are progressing as we go forward. Um, and I appreciate the support on something like this, because if I wasn't bringing this to your attention, I don't think anyone else would. And who knows, this bill might get killed, and we wind up having to deal with this, and it's not a good thing because a lot of us will wind up going out of business. Bernice Jackson, I guess you got your hand up and you're muted.
Yes. I have a question. How does this bill affect the cookie compliance? I had two girlfriends that were sued for not having the cookie compliance on their website, and both of their lawyers told them it would be cheaper for them to pay that few thousand than to actually take it to court. So, one minute you're required to have the cookie compliance so that you are compliant. You are telling people you are, storing their information. But now what do you do? How does this bill affect that?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because that is exactly how these frivolous lawsuits come about, right? And so the California Privacy Protection Agency is right now finalizing the regulation that gives you very clear instructions on how to protect yourself from these types of things from happening. the cookie compliance is all tied up in all of this right now. But the best thing to do is let's get this bill passed so that these frivolous lawsuits go away. And then I'm also, and I've been on attending the board hearings for the California Privacy Protection Agency for the last 3 years. And I've made sure that when they write these regulations, they're not throwing us out with the bathwater. Um, and so far, right now, they're making it where there will be have very clear instructions on how to comply with the cookies and pixels and so on and so forth. A lot of these things don't go into effect until 2027. But once they do, if you're outside of the law, then you're going to get hit with these demands from the California Privacy Protection Agency. But they're right now not focusing on small business. They're focusing on the providers, so the Facebooks and the Googles and so on and so forth that are not in compliance. So unfortunately, you got caught up in one of these 1967 law compliance issues. And this is why we're trying to get this bill passed so that it's not a problem anymore. Thank you for bringing that up.
Okay.
Wow.
All right.
Wow. All righty. So I've already just signed up. I'm getting ready to sign up community briefing
Awesome.
as well. So
Can we shift
anybody,
gears? Can we
huh?
shift gears? Greg said, give us some good news now.
Yeah, give us some good news, man, because yeah, took the wind out of our sails.
Well,
And Stephen had a question, but we'll give you the opportunity whether you want to say that online or after we finish, we go offline. But he was looking for your viewpoints on who should be governor and maybe lieutenant governor, because the races are coming up. So you can touch upon that live, or we can be off the
let me touch
off
on
the
that real
record.
quick. I'll touch on that real quick. Then I want to give you some good news.
Okay.
Okay, when it comes to the governor, right? Considering the current administration in the federal government and the things that we're dealing with, I think it's important that we have a level-headed person that's being the governor of the state of California, someone that has experience and has a little bit of tread on those tires, someone that is also a person of color that can relate to the issues that we're dealing with. And so I would highly recommend Javier Becerra to be the governor of the state of California. I'm glad that he is finally out making a lot of noise about his candidacy and what he's going to bring to the table, because I thought he was from the very beginning. I thought he was the most um, successful or possible really good governor for the state of California. He's more about us, the people, and our small businesses and what goes on in our communities than anyone else. Um, I don't want to say anything negative, but there are certain individuals that I think are just an exact copy of what Donald Trump is. And I don't think we need a Donald Trump here in California. There's other folks on the campaign that I think will tell you whatever they feel you need to hear in order to get elected. And then once they get in, they and their cronies are going to do whatever they want to do, however they want to do it.
Nah, they wouldn't do that.
Oh yeah. So I think it's time that we settle down and get someone who is a proven person who's already experienced what it means to be, the Attorney General of the state of California, who's been in D.C. and they know how things work in D.C. And they really care about California, and that's to me that's Javier Becerra. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I've heard as well. Somebody was posting that on my social media, my Facebook yesterday, Monday, and they put all his credentials in, and I did my own research, and it seems out of all of them that are up there, and here's what sold me: he has sued Trump 122 times and won. So I was already on the bandwagon at that point because I do believe whoever is the governor has to be able to fight back the GOP, Trump and his administration. And so At one point, when it was just Katie Porter, I saw what she did, but then I heard someone recently say, she would be a phenomenal attorney in general. So that the governor might be a little bit much for her right at this point, maybe later down the line. Um, the other ones, their interest is not our interest, and anyone that has built prisons in this country and imprison those that look like us definitely should. I don't care when he did it. All I know is that he received a $92 million gain from it. And yeah, you can make that I'm apologizing, but you sitting on $92 million, dude. And that $92 million is not even in a bank here in the country. It's spread across the world, so you don't have to pay taxes on it. So that by itself eliminates him. I am with you, Edwin. I think that I don't quite get it, and this is where we as informed voters have to really do our research. Um, if you are just coming into the ball game, why the hell are you going for the CEO position? And you're not qualified for that. You need to start down there at dog catcher.
Come
Let
on,
us vote you in as dog catcher, and let's
come
see
on.
how you do that, and then go up to assemblyman and whatever other little ones down there are, and then just move our way on up to council, and let us see how you work in Los Angeles, and then let us move you on up before you get there. Anyone going for mayor of a city, like the guy that's running for mayor and he runs a construction company, what gives you qualifications to we don't even know if you can balance your budget, but what gives you qualification to run a city the size of Los Angeles,
Yeah.
and what gives you qualifications to manage and run a state that is the fourth largest GDP in the world? You just
World.
can't be coming from the construction office to do that.
Yeah.
You got to have some experience. You can't go from mailroom to the president. You just can't,
Right. You're absolutely
in my
right.
opinion.
Yeah. Edwin,
And
what we're
when it
going to do is we're going to pivot to the things you want to share. A couple people are raising questions about the elections, and I think that's important. But we are going to have Emma's here, so we are going to be having a show or two dedicated on the elections,
thank you.
both at the national level and also at the local level. There's a primary coming up June 2, something like that.
Yeah.
June 2.
Yes. Yep. June 2.
So sometime next month in May, we'll have to find that date, but we are going to have an entire show on the issues, and then Emma, you can chime in. I don't know if you and Roz are doing your what call it, road show, the voter information, the town hall. That was it, town hall.
Yeah, town halls.
The town hall, the townhouse, but the townhouse has changed. So, but we'll be having information, because that's more than what we're going to cover in like 10, 15 minutes. So Edwin, the floor is yours for some
good news,
some good news and stuff that you're working on, and maybe he's running from office instead of running for office.
Well, I hope Russell Lowry is still on right now, because Russell, in association with a gentleman named Javon Agee, who used to work for the treasurer, came up with a bill called it's AB 2214, right? Write that down, AB 2214. What this bill does is, Javon, while working in the treasurer's office, he found a pocket of money. We're talking about millions of dollars, large hundreds of millions of dollars in a pocket of money. It is not part of the general budget, so that doesn't affect how the state runs. But this money was set aside to support small businesses.
Oh.
The problem is the loopholes that you have to jump through in order to get access to this money prohibits most of our small businesses from being able to ever touch any of this money. Okay. What AB 2214 does is it reduces those barriers. Number one, it gives you access to the information of just how much money is there, where you can go to find out about it. And then it lowers the barriers for you to have access to these funds. Now, I know no one's talking about this because this is the kind of thing that they have buried in California government for many, many years. This is not something new. This has always been around, and the fund just continues to grow. And so I found out about this. The California African American Chamber of Commerce did a specific webinar on AB 2214 with Javon A.G., who's a good friend of mine. And he broke it down very succinctly. I don't have as much details about it as he does, but I would suggest you take a look at this bill. Corey Jackson out of the Inland Empire is the author of the bill. Um, it would be a great way for our small businesses to access all this money that has been sitting there just growing for years that no one has been able to tap into. First, we have to get this law passed so that we can identify where this money is and then get the barriers reduced. And then the next phase of what Javon wants to do is do some training sessions to teach people how to access these funds. So baby steps. Let's get the first bill passed so that we can at least have access to it. And then let's work towards being able to get this money and use it to our benefit.
So can we get Javon, or can you refer them over to us
I
to
can
get them
absolutely
on
do
the
that.
community briefing?
And I
Either
can
or
absolutely
both.
do that. And you've got, Russell who,
Oh yes, Russell Laura he's
yeah,
a lobbyist.
yeah, Russell's a good friend of mine too. And they
Mhm.
work together on this. So maybe you can get the two of them to come on and give more details about this.
Yeah,
Okay.
he
Well,
was mobile, but he dropped off. I saw he
yeah.
was on
So
the
we'll
move.
check with
Yeah.
him. And you do you know P. Anthony as well? Because
I
we
know
met
Anthony very well.
yeah, we met him when we were up in Sacramento for Legislation Day. So I had talked to him as well about coming on during the month of May. So because they are
Yes.
all lobbying with all of the
Mhm.
senators and folks up there.
Yeah, P. Anthony and I are working on a project with the California African American Chamber. They got their Gwen Moore Small Business Day coming up in May,
Oh,
Mhm.
okay.
and
Mhm.
we're putting together a program for the Legislative Black Caucus, where the chamber can go and face one-on-one with the caucus members to talk about the concerns of Black small business in the state of California and some of the bills that they're carrying, and want to make sure that they're keeping their focus on how small businesses are being affected.
Can you
So yeah,
tell them about Gwen Moore for those that don't know who she is and what
oh
she
my
actually
God.
did for
Uh,
the state of California?
well, Gwen Moore, when Willie Brown was the speaker, uh,
Hmm.
Willie Brown came to Gwen and uh, he told her, "You're going to head up the energy committee here in the state capitol. That means all the big players like Edison, PG&E, and so on and so forth." And Gwen said, I don't want to do that. I don't know anything about that stuff. He said, "No, you're gonna be great. You're gonna do it. So if Willie say you're gonna do it, you're gonna do it." And Gwen, she accepted the challenge. And Gwen actually wrote some legislation and carried some legislation that is still huge in effect here in the state of California, and very
General
helpful.
Order 156.
Yep, yep.
Yep.
General Order 156. And she is, you know, since has passed on, but her name and her legacy still lives on. And
Okay, I found
so
this on the.
she's pretty major, and
And
they
she,
named this event after her, uh,
Mhm.
basically because of what she did. And it's that name has held firm for a number of years. Aubrey Stone, who actually was the main founder of the California Black Chamber of Commerce, which
mhm.
transitioned into the African American Chamber of Commerce, was the one who created this event. And it's a major success every year. They recognize small businesses here in Sacramento at the event. It's not as big an event as it used to be now. It's more of a reception, and it's an opportunity for small businesses to come to to Sacramento, and talk to their respective members in the different district that they represent. And the more
Yeah.
we can talk to our legislators and have a voice, guys, the more important it is because unfortunately, some of our members, they get elected, they come up here in Sacramento, and then they start playing politics. They forget about who they're here to represent.
They wouldn't do that.
And they get caught up in the minutia and all the, the different game playing that happens politically here in Sacramento. And, they support bills, that necessarily don't reflect the way their community would like to see things done. But it can be to their own benefit, and that's what it winds up becoming. Because remember, every 2 years they have to run again.
Exactly. It actually just behooves you when you're out and you guys are going to these events. Generally, they're going to show up somewhere in the first 25 minutes to an hour. And then the ones that are actually awarding them with something, that's when you get face to face so they know who you are. And then when you start writing letters and so forth, now they can and they know that they've seen you in the community, so they're gonna be a little leery of you that you will walk up to them and have conversation with them. That's how I met Marquise. I had complaints, I had problems, I had challenges, and I went up and I found he was at a town hall meeting, and I got to express myself, and so he knows who I am every time he sees me. So that's what you really want to do, because don't vote just to be voting and don't know who that person is and or what they stand for. So I think that's awesome. Gwen actually, I believe was and Emma, you can verify this. She sat on the board of the BBA, didn't she?
Yes, she did for many years.
Yeah, and something that I heard something about the bathrooms in supermarkets. Isn't that one of her legislation?
She was responsible for having bathrooms across the country.
Yeah.
Gwen was a phenomenal person. I love her. She was my neighbor. She was like my godmother. She is the reason that I ended in supplier diversity. And I can't, oh my God, it was a total loss. And I remember her every day. I actually look out my door and see her house. And that's how close we lived to each other. But anyone that knew Gwen Moore, and as far as her working in with the utilities, the joint utilities, she actually passed GL 156 and increased diversity procurement throughout all the utilities. Women, minorities, service disabled veterans. She is responsible for that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Stephen?
Well, this is great, Edwin. We have the word from up in Sacramento, and we have Al Perry from Orange County. So we're covering all of California here.
And we and Russell was in San Diego, so we had a voice from San Diego as well.
Yeah.
And I'm in Inglewood.
The wood. Well, before we leave, guys, I would like to come back at a later date, Crystal, to talk about ballot measures, because now the ballot measures that are going to be on the ballot, they've gotten their signatures, they're in the final approval process in the Attorney General's office, and once they've been approved, and and I know that they're going to be on the ballot. I'd like to kind of go over some of those things so people understand what they're voting for, because the way they verbalize these things on the ballot aren't necessarily the way they really are.
Mm-hmm.
You need to understand the specifics behind it to understand how you should vote. And I'd like to come back and maybe follow up with that. And I would love Emma to also be involved in that, because I know she's
I was just ready to ask you, can I call you after this? I need to talk to you about that. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
And I hope
that
it's
way
okay.
maybe he can be on when you have we can put him on a Zoom, and then that would be great as well.
Right.
Kelly Todd, I was with her this morning. They just did the endorsements for, I believe, the state, that not the governor. That's still they're doing that over the weekend. But she did put out the California women's collective to on what the other ones were. So you guys can go to there. I'll put the link in the chat. Emma, for you, she told me that once they put together the final endorsement, she'll send it over to me, and then I'll send it over to you. And that's
Okay,
coming
very good.
from the California Black Women's Collective.
Very good. Well, our
And
first town hall meeting is going to be next Wednesday, just so that you know. And it's just, we don't have a special guest speaker. We're just going to try to give you ideas of what to look forward to until the election. So if you can, we'll put the flyers out. I have all of your addresses and emails. And forgive me, I've been sick for 2 weeks with a cold. My voice is
oh,
leaving me. And but anyway, I will be ready Wednesday. Promise you, I'll be there. So we will get the information to you, and I'm hoping as many that can support us come out. And
exactly.
that's we got a lot to talk about.
Right. And this election, guys, is like life and death. this this is as
It is.
important because and I think Edwin, you can back this up, is the primaries are extremely important. That
Mhm.
leads into the general, right? You want to
Exactly.
add on to that?
Because remember, it's no longer Democrat against Republican. It's the top two vote getters.
Mhm.
So if the top two vote getters are Republican, then we've got to vote for a Republican governor. And we can't afford that in California, right? And so I wish some of these other lower level candidates would drop out, like what's the name?
Gang.
Yeah, because they're eating up votes, and we need to support people like Javier Becerra and make sure that this man gets through the primary and on the general, so we can make him our next governor. All right, to me, that's a win-win for us.
Right.
And that's to focus what we're doing instead of being all over the place. And that's why I'm glad this organization you're involved with, Crystal, is getting rid of the silos that we have in our society and being more focused on collectively working together.
Yeah,
And
that's vitally important right now because so many people don't have that information. So the two really major, and then he'll give us all the initiatives, but the mayor and the governor is vital. And there's some folks that just don't want Karen to be there.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And
Yes.
Karen and so their voices have been extremely loud. But Karen has done some amazing things. If you're kind of on the inside, you see what has happened. Um, with the homelessness, they're still harping like it was when she came in. It's not. She's made some significant changes and impacts in the homelessness. So you guys, I would say, go sign up on the City of Los Angeles mailing list so you'll get the newsletters, and also do the same thing for LA County, Holly Mitchell. They will give you the real information of what's going on. But she is doing an incredible job. And one of the things that Cynthia Mitchell Hurd has done is she has made it that the request to have the National Urban League Conference in Los Angeles was Karen's request. So that will give her that she does have the Black community behind her. And that is important. We don't want the ones that are coming in. Know that California is a trendsetter. California is, as I said, the second, third, the third, fourth GDP. So the Republican Party wants it, and they want we've kind of pushed the button as to what is going to happen in this country, and so to be able to turn over us from being a blue state to a red state means a lot to them. We may not think it means a lot to us, but we have more freedoms in this state than, I don't care how high it is, it's expensive to live here. We have more freedoms here in this state than anybody does across the country. Just telling y'all that. That is the truth. And we have more opportunities for our businesses. I was helping somebody recently get trying to find funding for their business for a business that they had just invested in. And they have no SBA offices, no SCORE offices, none of that. They have no VSEDC, they have no Los Angeles Urban League, don't have none of that to go to get help to find funding for their business. It just does not exist in Arizona and Alabama and Arkansas and Texas and all those places. So we may take what we have here for granted. Trust me. There's some people that wish they lived in California so that at least they would have those resources. The technical resources out here are incredible. Right, Joseph? And Joseph he works for PCR. So you want to say something, Joseph? So you guys got to understand, it's not. Yeah, it's expensive, but New York is expensive. Everywhere is expensive.
Exactly.
I'd pay more to not have to live in Alabama. Let me just say that. Everything Crystal said is true. One of the things that we've noted recently is the SBA change of lending guidelines to make it more difficult for people to get small business loans, particularly if anyone involved in the company in a significant way is not a U.S. citizen. That takes away green card holders, that takes away permanent residents. They're now barred from access to SBA loans. This administration is doing everything they can to support the white supremacy ideology. The backstop to that is that we live in California and our state government, and particularly our governor and attorney general, have fought against it both in court and in public opinion. We can't let this state fall into Republican hands, period. I haven't decided who I'm voting for yet, watching very closely. To be honest with you, this is a pragmatic vote for me. When it's all said and done, I'm going to vote for whoever is not a Republican. Yeah. And we got to make sure, if we can, that we get the top two, because everybody's worried about Republicans getting the top two. There's nothing stopping Democrats from getting the top two if we handle it right. And that's what I want.
That's where I am. So just understand that, guys. Okay. So Edwin, you've been amazing. Yes.
I'm sorry, I have one more. I just wanted to tell them our town hall meeting is going to be every Wednesday from 6 to 8, and it's going to be at Consolidated Realist at 3725 Don Felipe Drive. And we're partnering with Consolidated. So it's free parking, plenty of room, and we really need everybody. And we can talk like I want to talk to you there.
Okay. And tell a friend, tell the family
Please
member.
Tell a friend.
If you have new voters, young people, because they get their information from Instagram, drag them.
Yes, we'll help you get both. We got a lot of information, so we're going to do the best we can in this short period of time and show up. We have to show up.
Yeah.
Emma, what time is the meeting?
6 o'clock. Starts at 6 to 8. And we pretty much stay on time when we do it. So we have a lot of information. So get there on time and get as much from us and you bring something to the table also. Being there is going to be helpful for us.
Edwin, you got Emma, you got Edwin's phone number?
Yes.
I don't think I do. You could.
Don't say it on. Don't say it on there.
We're gonna come off. We're gonna close off the show so Emma can get
Reminder: we're not hosting next Thursday, yes. April 30th. We will be at the grand opening for PCR, the SBDC, one of our sponsors, and then we'll return on the 7th of May with special guest Delano A. Johnson, and he is the CEO of PNEX and Fraser Institute, and he'll be sharing information with us there. So, reminder, nothing next week, the 30th, and we'll be back to you on the 7th of May.
Oh, great.
Right. And you guys share this. Go to Community Briefing. First, subscribe to the Community Briefing and then share that to your friends and family. This was a really important one. Not that they're all not important, but this what Edwin spoke on today is can affect everyone here. Yeah. In this city. Okay.
Anyway,
that's important.
Stick around. We can go off air if Christy, you want to. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining the community briefing.
Okay, so now we're off air. Wait a minute, we're not off air yet, but come on, Facebook. All right.